Okay, so the last time what we did was we created a class restaurant and we used the attribute writer and attribute reader to, the attribute writer to input data for a restaurant and attribute reader to read the data that we inputted. Now, and if you notice here, I'm going to take lots of notes and comments, and if you notice I separated with notes, prep, put some comments next to it, and then run. This is a great practice for you to use as developers because it makes coding a lot readable and enjoyable for other developers as well. So now let's create an action method. So we did this, created this, we're going to put X. So let's create our action method. Alright, so action method is just the way it says. It is giving an action or creating a method that does something with the information we have. So let's say we want to show the amount of, or the name of the restaurant in the cuisine. Let's say we're trying to create like a Yelp, for instance. And you know, when you look up restaurants and whatnot, they usually have the name in the cuisine, right? So let's say we're going to say information. Say information. And we're going to make it into a string. If you notice I didn't put puts in here. It's bad practice to put puts inside a method. So say information. We're going to make it a string at cuisine. So the cuisine makes or actually, the name makes at cuisine. So if you see here, so name makes at cuisine. We didn't have to add in any arguments because of our instance variable. Cool, right? So now let's say we want to, I'll delete these. We want to say the information. So we'll say info for our restaurant 1. So we're going to clear this. Let's run it. Subway makes sandwich shops. Or Subway makes sandwiches. Let's say sandwich shop, that doesn't sound right. So we want to change it, right? So all you have to do, struct 1 cuisine. And if you notice, we didn't have to delete this part. Sandwiches. There you go. And now let's run this again. We're going to do Subway makes sandwiches. Sounds a lot better. So that's how you make action methods. Now we have that. Great. We'll check that off. Now what about initializing methods? So initializing methods mean if you are creating the class automatically, what data you want the user to put in immediately, or you can even think of it as what data you would want what data you want it to start with. So for instance, if we wanted to create, let's say, a rating system for our restaurants, right? We would want that to be initialized as soon as it's created through the classes, right? So we'd say, or as soon as the class or object is created. So initialize and we'll say this is a rating and we're going to make it into 0. Now anytime a class is initialized or an object is created, that will immediately, the rating will immediately start. So, and since this is initialized and we want to read the rating, what we can do is create a reading, or we could create an attribute reader to see the rating. So define rating and at rating. All right, so let's see how that works. And you know what? We're going to keep say info, and we are going to say at names mixed cuisine has a rating of, then we'll say at rating. Alright, so let's clear this off and let's run it. See? So it says here Subway Mixed Sandwiches has a rating of 0. Now, how are we going to increase now the rating whenever someone wants it higher? So let's say we want the user to input this ratings, or every time a user likes Subway, it increases our rating.